Hello everyone. 19th episode of Road to Superbowl is here. The podcast that will take you behind the eyes of every single GM in the National Football League. Today we're gonna look at Pittsburgh Steelers for guys or girls or women, whatever, who are here for the first time, do not understand what this is about. What you are getting here is roster rundowns of every single team. We will talk about their off-season. We will talk about what they did in 2023. While we are doing that, we are also focusing on value on the window. What does that mean? A lot of the times you hear, talk, see a player, you only look, is this guy good, is this guy bad? Here we try to address this more deeply within the construction of how the cap hit works. So, is a guy good, but does it mean he's worth the amount of money he's getting, or is he great value? Should we resign him? Should we count on him going forward if he's on rookie deal right now? So we're trying to take a look on the financial aspect of the situation as well. But for that, you obviously need to know how good a player is, because if you don't have him ranked or assess ranking to him, you cannot understand if he's worth the money or not. Beside that, I'm trying to show you guys, creating player cards for guys that I feel like could be valuable contributor this season or were past season for the team, in order for you to get to know these guys, because there's 32 teams, 53 men on the roster, on the active roster every single week. I guarantee you don't know all of them, and I'm not gonna show you all of them. It's more like 20 to 30 guys per team, but that's what we do here. Also, we'll talk a bit about the draft, and after the rundown or during the rundown, we also have like 3 topics that to me are worth discussing a little bit more in detail for specifically this team rather than for teams in general. So for example, for the Steelers, it's going to be the topic of purgatory. It's going to be the historical duo of quarterbacks here for only 4.5 million in cap hit. And it's going to be draft and the ability of the Steelers to somehow draft potential Hall of Famer or at least Pro Bowl wide receiver pretty much every single time they need to, and they need to right now. So that's gonna be it. With that, we will start by looking at what Pittsburgh Steelers have done in 2023 season. And I mean, I cannot talk about this while not talking about the topic of purgatory, because I think there is one prime team that absolutely represents purgatory the best, and that's Pittsburgh Steelers. What does purgatory mean for me or for the purpose of this show? Why should we use this term? It's what I call a team that is just good enough to be in a conversation for a playoff team, but not really good enough to make a splash there. And also, they are just not bad enough to suck in a way, because and therefore they do not have a chance to have high drafts because they will win games. And I don't think there's a team that represents that better than Pittsburgh Steelers. You have Mike Tomlin never having a losing season. And man, I think what shows this the most is you have TJ Watt, one of the best defensive players in the entire game. He never had a losing season in his 6 years in the NFL, right? Yet, his playoff record is 0-3. TJ Watt having never had losing record in the regular season games, being one of the best defensive players in the entire league. He has not won a single playoff game. Single one. So that's why Pittsburgh really represents this. And when it comes to this term, it's like hard for me to be like critical of Pittsburgh, because I feel like Mike Tomlin is doing great job, but it's almost too good of a job in order to ever have a chance like actually win a Super Bowl, especially in this era, because what they are doing quite nicely, obviously where their strength is their defense, especially their defensive line. And it's super hard to win with defense this years in NFL. Like in the era of Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, two of them you actually have in your own division. And also in the era where a lot of rules, like I would say 90% of the rules, are in favor of offense. It's so hard to just have such a dominant defense to be able to win Super Bowls. I feel like it's almost impossible. Therefore, it's really, really freaking hard for Steelers to get out of it. It might come with a absolutely hard decision, saying, Mike, you are doing a great job, and that's why we're firing you. Like, if that would, if that's what it takes to get out of this, maybe they will eventually do it. But up to that point, I feel like they will continue to be good and hope that we can hit on a QB in the draft with a later pick, because we're never going to draft in top 5. And with him on a rookie deal and exceptional defense, maybe we can do it. But would I bet on you guys doing it? No. And it's like, I like how they play football. I respect the hell out of Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best defensive minds in the game, if not the best, when there's no more Bill Belichick. But I feel like it shows, even with Bill or a guy like Robert Saleh in Jets, like these defense last year were like, in several games they were exceptional. Yet those teams are, nowhere sniffing nowhere playoffs, because the offenses were so atrocious. And I'm not saying that the Pittsburgh is there. That's why they are, they were into playoffs. But they were just bad. They were not like horrible offensively. They were just bad to like mediocre. And that is not going to cut it, man. Like, it's not gonna beat Josh Allen, then Joe Burrow, then Patrick Mahomes to even get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's just not good enough. So that's the story of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the purgatory they are stuck in my opinion. And it's like, I want to be critical of it in a way, because it kind of takes away the upside of this team, but at the same time, it just means that this team or this coaching staff, like, they do a lot of things great, but they just cannot hit then one QB, or they are kind of like stuck in a direction that's just not where the league is heading, and you cannot stop it with even within the realm of defensive line that contains guys like TJ Watt, or Alex Highsmith. I'm not sure what they will do with this, because I feel like a lot of people started to notice this last year. There were talks about like firing Mike Tomlin. Yeah, there was such a backlash towards it. Like, how do you fire a guy that's doing super good job? Yeah, and I absolutely understand that. Like, I would not want to fire Mike Tomlin. I just don't see how this team can get out of this without that. Maybe they found a way, and that's where we talk about this free agency. So last year, again, they make the playoffs. There were maybe a couple of minutes in that games versus Bills where you maybe there's a hope. No. Josh Allen just puts on his running boots. Then he gets hit kind of late, 15 yards penalty, the game is pretty much over. Again, like a couple of years ago, this would have not been called. You would have a better chance to actually do something with that game. This year's NFL, it's gonna get called. It's whether you like it or not. I don't personally. I feel like specifically with guys like Josh Allen, Justin Fields, or like pretty much any mobile QB, like they can pretend that they are sliding, so you ease off tackles, and they will just make another move on you. And then if they see you actually coming for a tackle, that they will continue with that sliding move, and you're gonna get flagged most of the time because it looks like a late hit. So to me, that's really like taking away the quarterback's responsibility for protecting themselves, because they are kind of putting their bodies at risk this way, because it's beneficiary for them within the rules and within the officiating. So I'm not sure where we're gonna move from here, but overall it just makes the job for defense even harder, specifically in the era where QBs are running a lot. Yeah, it's already really hard to tackle them because they're elusive. Now it's just hard, man. So there we are. Let's talk about free agency a bit. I feel like they've made some roster moves, not a ton. So I only will talk about the free agency within the realm of the QB duo of historically low price here. So getting a veteran QB that just 2 years ago another team spent a total ransom for 1.2 million is is unheard of. Like this contract, I don't understand how it's not talked much more, because like Russell Wilson for 1.2 million is one of the best contracts there is in the league, and you count rookies into that. I think it's top 10 contract in the league, given the quality he has compared to the price tag. And one thing why I do feel like it's not talked a lot is the narrative on Russell is, or kind of went crazy in my opinion. Like there were people saying like he's only a backup at this point, and that to me is just dumb. I'm definitely a Russell Wilson's fan. You can call that. So if you feel like I'm not coming out as like reasonable on this option, okay, like I'm not going to argue with that, but here are my points about Russell. So just 2 years ago, Broncos spent a ransom for him, and he was not what they believed he would bring to the table. They thought they were buying an exceptional elite QB, and he just never reached that level with Denver. First year, he was a benchable guy. He was bad, but let's face it, Nathaniel Hackett was just a disaster, and it's like hard to like super blame Russ for that. Like, yeah, definitely he earns a lot of blame for that season, but at the same time, you have to look at the coaching situation, and yeah. Also, when Broncos were bringing Russell, it was not like we are bringing top QB to the top offense. We are trying to bring a top QB in mediocre offense and hope he can elevate it, while we count on our defense, count on our Bradley Chubb, Justin Simmons, Pat Surtains of the world. You know, it's like kind of similar to the Jets when they brought Aaron Rodgers. But the difference is, with Jets, they didn't have to sacrifice a ton for Aaron Rodgers, unlike the Broncos for Russell. So when you are trying to complement the situation with good picks, you just don't have them with Broncos. At the same time, it's not like Broncos hit on their free signings. Like Randy Gregory was one of the worst free agent signings like in recent memories. He was atrocious, and even like other guys were not what was promised. Coming to 2023, you let go of Bradley Chubb, so it's not like you suddenly have an exceptional defense. You have good defense, but nothing exceptional. You know, it kind of comes with like maybe Justin Simmons is on downwards trajectory. That's why he's been cut and he's not been picked up yet. You know, So you were kind of left to one elite player in Pat Surtain on the defense, but it's not like defense that, for example, the Jets have. And again, you don't have picks, so it's hard to complement that. And given that situation, I think Russell played like a good QB. They even beat Chiefs after 5-6 years. And that's just it. He was good. He was under-delivering what they were paying him, for sure. He was under-delivering for what they paid for him as a price in terms of draft picks and players. But the idea that he was worse, he was not top 30 QB in the league, it's just ridiculous to me. I think he definitely played like a top 20 guys. I would put him 17 last year. And getting that for 1.2 million, there's virtually no risk. And if you hit on this guy, maybe that's the way out of the purgatory, because again, you are paying nothing. And the second part of this is Kenny Pickett, who was supposed to be competing with Russell for the starting job, just went I don't like the situation, I want to get out. So they traded him to the Eagles, where he chose to go to Eagles. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? Are you serious? You don't want to compete with Russell Wilson, QB that a lot of players kind of believe that he is just not great enough. You don't want to compete here in a situation where you finally have a good offensive coordinator, You don't want to compete in a situation where there is gonna be overwhelming support from the fans for you over Russell. We've seen it with you over Mitch Trubisky. And you rather go to the Philadelphia that has a long-term guy, their top guy, under contract through 2029, and you have pretty much no chance of playing. I mean, whoever told you that this is a smart decision, I would really question that for Kenny Pickett. I mean, for Eagles, they get a cheap backup. For Steelers, it's all right, you don't want to be here. We kind of got something for him, not much. That was kind of a team this year, not getting really a lot for QBs on the rookie deals. But at the same time, you pretty much swap Kenny Pickett for Justin Fields, actually paying less for Justin than you would have to for Kenny, or you got for Kenny in terms of trade value. And with Justin, you are getting quite an interesting upside with his running game. I am really intrigued if they will make some type of weird offense in terms of they could be, at least in my opinion, one of the first offenses to implement actually almost down in, down out QB changes. I feel it could be that interesting. I honestly don't think they will do, especially with they are a bit on conservative side here in Pittsburgh for both Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith. And I feel eventually Russell is gonna win the job. But I think with Justin Fields and this running game, it's an interesting fit. There was obviously Justin was being kind of mocked to the Falcons with Arthur, even when he was there. So yeah, interesting fit. And you have these two guys for under $5 million in terms of cap hit. You have no obligations to pay either one of them, because I don't think you pick up Justin Fields' option for next season. You have no obligation to pay either of them following the season. It kind of begs the question how do you view your future? And I think the answer is, well, we hope one of these guys actually hits. We don't have to pay them that much, because they should not have huge market, both of them, given the performances in 23 or 22, and they are going to be our guys for seasons to come. If not, we can reassess the situation within the next year's draft. But I definitely like this potential upside of both of these guys compared to what Steelers had. in last year. You know, with Mason Rudolph, you get a couple of good games, but you were winning with not because of him. With Mitch Trubisky, yeah, that train is just passed. And with Kenny, like, a lot of people were actually liking Kenny, and it's like it was all Matt Canada's fault. But the guy does not throw, like, he has worse touchdown, like less touchdowns that he has starts, you know, like that kind of says a lot. Is it gonna work? Is there a definite clear upside of this group? Yes, but will it work? We don't know. But for what it's worth, I really like both of these moves. Okay, I talked a lot about this. Let's just go and do the rundown. With rundown, what do? We take a look at weaponry, which contains QBs, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. With offensive line, it's only offensive line. Defensive line includes linebackers. Secondary consists of cornerbacks and safeties. And in coaches, we also talk special teams. Here is the time where you should, if you want to meet the guys, you should also put your glasses on and take a quick look on the screens, because I'm going to be showing their faces and their pictures. So let's start with the weaponry. Now it's time to put your glasses on, because we will show you what the weaponry looks like. So are you guys ready? Let's go. So Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson. Like I said, we are also showing guys that were significant contributors in 2023, not only the roster or the guys that are on the roster for this season. Najee Harris, Justin Fields, Jalen Warren. It's not a coincidence that I have Justin here with running backs. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Connor Hayward, with Calvin Austin and Denzel Mims kind of closing this group out. Now give me 30 more seconds, because what you are seeing here is how this went in terms of their cap hits before this free agency started, and here we are right now. So let's go. Now you can lift your eyes from the screen, give them some needed rest after a long day in work, and just listen. So in terms of quarterbacks, I already talked about this. I feel like Justin is a decent starter. I feel like Russell is a good starter. I think with them you have good group for what you are paying, or exceptional group for what you are paying, but you are not necessarily having a guy that is a sure thing that will lift you up. Yeah. If it happens, that's the way you can win, maybe even Super Bowl. If it doesn't, they have decent floor, so you will probably continue to be stuck in purgatory with them. But the good thing is you are not committed to them long term. They are both free agents for 25, unless you pick up 25 million option for Justin Fields, which you are not going to do. At least I believe so. In terms of running backs, here is a guy you kind of have to pick up the option, 50 option with Najee Harris, only 6.8 million. I know running backs are not getting paid a lot, but I still think that's a good money. It's not exceptional value, but it's good money. And with Jalen Warren, he's going to be restricted free agent, so you can bring him up under like cheaper contracts than he should get. And these two guys complement each other quite nicely. They are good and very good player in my opinion, with Najee having the slight edge. And for a league that's filled with like good running backs, I feel like this room, given how they complement each other, is one of the better ones in the league. It's not exceptional because you don't have your Christian McCaffreys, you don't have your Derrick Henrys, but yeah, in the next year, these guys are there. Then wide receivers, and here comes the problem and maybe a solution, because I don't like the fact that you traded Deontay Johnson for pretty much nothing, like Deontay Jackson and 7th round pick, like that's bad. Especially like when you brought like cheap QB options. I feel like you can stomach his contract for at least this year. At the same time, you have George Pickens, who, as your number one, he can function there, but he's not like Justin Jefferson of the world. Like, he's not gonna make defense like think five times about him. And he's kind of alone. Like Calvin Austin, Denzel Mims. I mean, they are all on rookie deals. You are paying them nothing. As your number 4, number 5, good guys. As your number 2, number 3, nope. No. This ain't going to cut it. But the good news is there is still some wide receivers being on the market. I feel like, for example, OBJ is still out there. And the second part is, if there's one position that I absolutely trust Pittsburgh Steelers to draft, is wide receiver. And this class is deep for wide receivers. It's great for wide receivers. So I kind of believe they have almost their number 1 or number 2, like pretty much automatically coming off the draft. Even if they were not to spend like a first round on wide receiver, I still believe they will come out with a great wide receiver somehow, because that's what Pittsburgh do. So I give them benefit of doubt, but overall, the wide receivers right now are not looking great. It's slightly better with tight ends. Again, you have 3 guys on rookie deals. I mean, when you look at this weaponry, you are paying literally like under 20 million for the entire weaponry. Like, that's unheard of. That's absolutely unheard of. And you have good guys. With Pat, I think you have like close to top 10 tight end. Maybe he just was not like as good as I would hope last year, but he is still a good player in my opinion. And Darnell Washington and Connor Hayward as your number 2, number 3 options for a position that does not likely make or break your season. I'm absolutely happy with. There is definitely room for development with both of them. It's a good room for what it's worth. Like, it's like C minus, but for that position, for this type of money, you are taking it. How do you view this weaponry? Like, it's so hard, man. I feel like at its floor, it's C to C minus offense, like, or weaponry. But the upside here, where is Justin Fields? Where is Russell Wilson? Where is George Pickens? Where is the new wide receiver coming in? Where are the tight ends? Like, you only have one veteran guy here, and you have him for 1.2 million. Like, that's just absolutely insane. So I think right now you have to rank them quite low. But would I be surprised if this offense actually worked quite nicely? No, I would not. I wish it to Russell Wilson or even Justin Fields if he becomes a starter, but obviously I lean towards Russell. And I kind of wish it to Pittsburgh, man. I would like to be wrong about them being stuck in purgatory for years to come. Like, I would absolutely love to follow my words on this one, because I really feel like there is so much good work being done in Pittsburgh to never get like reward that you deserve, and I feel like it's being kind of pulled away from you because of the way how the NFL shifts. Like, it's the reality. I'm not gonna cry about it, but man, I would wish them to do well. So with weaponry, I think this is where we are. I feel like you definitely need to watch them draft a wide receiver, and you will be interested in what's going to happen with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields with this offense. So now let's go to the offensive line. Again, we will show you the pictures and player cards for those guys. So now is the time to check your screens again. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds, and then we will continue. Yes, so Isaac Seumalo, Nate Herbig, James Daniels, Denmore, Chukwuma Okorafor, Broderick Jones, and Mason Cole. Here we were before the offseason started, both Okorafor and Cole actually not being on the roster. I believe they actually cut Mason Cole. And here we are right now. They did not brought any of these guys back. what I think it means is that James Daniels kind of is gonna go and play center. He played it for like in his career already, so it's not necessarily that they have like one position that they absolutely need to draft here. It's like in terms of depth, they are definitely in a worse situation than they were last season when the depth was kind of the strength of this O-line. And part of that is they kind of made a huge mistake last off-season, and that mistake kind of comes to bite them. It's letting go of Kevin Dotson for pretty much nothing. And he just became one of the best guards in the league, the way he played last season. And he got really a nice contract, 3 years, 48 million, which actually, like, given for how much like guys like Robert Hunt went, you might argue that given his last year play, that's actually a good value for the Rams. And it's really kind of bad look for the Steelers in this one, and I feel like it might come to bite them the same way that maybe Deontay Johnson trade could this year. But you essentially got like pick swaps of 4th rounders and 5th round for the 6th round, and it's like, really, you get that for number 2 ranked guard according to PFF last season. I mean, you obviously did not know that he would work. It's different systems. They find out how to use him better, I would say, with like in LA. But he was ranked only behind Chris Lindstrom. Like, that's insane, man. So that kind of sucks. But should you be worried about this online? Not necessarily. Like, is there an exceptional player? No. Could Broderick Jones be that guy? Maybe. Do you have a glaring holes? No. Is there room to improve? Yes, for some. Should you draft a guy there? Yeah, I believe so. Overall, is this group great? No. Is it bad? No. It's just mid-tier. Maybe, like, again, like C to C minus, because you're liking that at least an amazing start that you would want to have when you don't necessarily have like Herbig or more are not what you consider your happy starters. You are not like super happy to start them. But overall, it's serviceable O-line. It should not lose you games. It definitely should not win you games, but it should be good. It's obviously gonna be interesting within the whole like Pittsburgh offense when they let go Matt Canada mid-season last year. He was being spoken of as like the true anchor for this team, that he is just the guy that pushes them towards the bottom of the ocean, because his play calling was horrendous. We will see if that should improve with Arthur Smith, but there is a lot of guys actually unhappy with signing of Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator, and we will see. Like, the knock on him is he's not getting the ball into his playmaker's hand, and he runs the ball maybe way too much. Like, here you have 2 exceptional running backs, you have 2 quarterbacks that can run in fields. You literally have almost like your 3rd running back in terms of your QB, and you don't necessarily have a bunch of playmakers. Like, you have Pickens, you have Freimut, and that's kind of it. You know, the other guys are just guys. It's nothing special. So it's gonna be interesting to see this O-line functions under like different regime. Nothing more to add. So overall, this offense is what you would expect for Pittsburgh. It's not amazing. The good thing is I feel like there is a potential to be good, even great offense if Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson from like 2020, 2019. If that happens, well, that's going to be very interesting for Pittsburgh. Right now, is it likely? No. And you have to rank this offense in terms of like 22nd, maybe even worse in terms of offenses in the league. Could it be enough? Yeah, in league where the defenses would get more praise? Yeah, maybe. Right now, it's probably just good enough for the purgatory. But let's go for the defense. Again, if you want to meet the players, now is the time, because you will see their playing cards. Okay, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Larry Ogunjobi, Alex Highsmith, and Armon Watts. I do not have many players here. Again, we will continue with Cole Holcomb, Patrick Queen, and Nick Herbig. And that's here we are before the offseason started. And here we are right now. So some of the guys that I don't have shown here are Cole Holcomb and Keanu Benton and Elandon Roberts. All of them are workable parts of this defense. I'm sorry guys for not putting them there. My bad, but let's just continue. So where we are right now, what are you paying for this, and is it good? It's more than good. It's better than good. It's great. Where to start? Okay, TJ Watt, elite, absolutely elite player, one of the ultimate defensive player of the year candidate every single year. You hope he could stay healthy during the whole season, because he tends to struggle with some injuries over the year. But yeah, when he's out there, man, you don't want to face him. Then you have Alex Highsmith. What is there to say, man? Like, he's great, like combination of him and TJ, each side of the line. One of the best duo in the league, and you don't only have these two guys, you also have Cam Hayward, who just denies his age, and he plays like an amazing player, like the dude is, how old are you? He's like 36, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check this guy. He's gonna be 35. He's actually gonna have a birthday really soon, like in a week. So happy birthday, Cam. And he's gonna be 35. So, man, if I was, I'm 32 right now, I think. I hope I will have his physique when I'm 35, because that's just nasty. What can you say? Like, these three guys are heart and soul of this defensive line, of this defense overall, and they are absolutely great pieces to have. You wish that they had more playoff success, but that's just it. Like with Cam, you obviously adjust to his age. He is not like every down lineman for sure, but he still played 500 snaps last year, and like, he did not struggle with injuries that much. Like, given his age, he obviously had some of the struggles, but he was still out there quite a lot. He missed like half of the season, but he was there when it matters, like since week 9, where the Pittsburgh kind of went on the run in terms of actually making the playoffs. And like, he's not like every down out there, but it's as close as you get, like for his age to actually play 40 to almost 50 snaps a game, that's ridiculous, man. You have to be absolutely impressed with him. Like, he's great. And then you have Keanu Benton next to him, who as a rookie absolutely surprised. He was very good. And you have something here. Like, I think with Keanu, having him for next 3 years, he could really develop into a great defensive tackle. And like, similar that you can say it with like truly elite guys that demands double teams. Like, it's such a good opportunity for these young guys to just come into league, have one-on-one matchups, and just be exceptional. With Keanu, his pass rush grade was one of the best in the league for inside guy, and it's not a fluke, and it's like part that you okay. So who we gonna protect our QB against? Okay, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. All right. Yeah, Alex Highsmith. We need to do that. Oh, they like to sometimes blitz a guy. Oh, all right. What? Keanu Benton? Yeah, someone should probably protect against them, but yeah, it's our fifth or sixth guy out there, and that's obviously where if you can take an opportunity from that, which Keanu absolutely did in his rookie year, you could get something from this guy. So okay, inside, and I did not even mention like a guy like Larry Ogunjobi, who is a decent NFL starter. Like he had a down year, but he also played over like 800 snaps, which, I mean, he's just like snap eater. He's not gonna be the difference maker, but he will be out there. He will do his job, and you can kind of count on him being decent enough to not lose you games. Then you go to linebackers, and they brought Patrick Queen here from the Ravens. They did not overpay him. Like 3 years, 42 million, I think is absolutely adequate for him. You also have Cole Holcomb, you have Orlando Roberts, you have Nick Herbig, who actually played quite well in his rookie year. I mean, what is there not to like here? Like, you have great linebackers, you have great inside and outside of the O-line. This is definitely one of the best groups that we will rank for D-line and linebackers, both in terms of like top guys, but as well as the depth is really good here. Like, we only have 2 good backups on, 10 players here. That's just almost unheard of. That's, I don't know, like close to Jets, but I still would say like you have more top guys than the Jets have. Though it's like very okay, it's like on the same. It's probably like kind of very similar to what the Jets have. I might be a little bit too high, like the number 2 guy here in Cam Hayward than what the Jets have, but still, it's really, really, really freaking good, and it's never gonna be fun to play against this defensive line. With addition of Patrick Queen, with rise of Keanu Benton, yeah, good luck. And obviously, you have to question: can Cam Hayward still be this amazing guy even next season? Like, he had a down year in terms of his qualities, but he was still pretty good. So yeah, he probably is going to slow down. I would not be surprised if he retires post this season, but I think for this year you are still getting very good player. That's your D-line, that's your linebackers, and that's your absolute strength. I do have to grade it A to A+. Like, it's really close to actually being given the A+ grade. And obviously, like, if we are talking about like A+ should be D-line of like Dexter Lawrence, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Quinnen Williams, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, whatever, you are never going to get that within the realm of possibility. So obviously, when I'm grading these guys, it's just within the realm of like reasonability with cap hits existing. What you are getting here, and I think you are getting A to A+ type of D-line and linebackers. Now it's time to meet the secondary. Kudos to Mr. Patrick Peterson. Are you guys and women out there, are you watching? Let's go. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Demonta Casey, Patrick Peterson, Keanu Neal, Miles Kilbrew, Deshaun Elliott, and Joey Porter Jr. So here we are before the offseason, and here we are right now. So pretty much what happened here, they let go of Patrick Peterson, brought Donta Jackson in his stead, and they also signed Miles Kilbrew and Deshaun Elliott for the safety positions. So you are lacking depth in terms of cornerbacks, at least in my view. Clearly, I only have like 2 cornerbacks listed here, as I feel like they should be a significant contributor for these teams. Yeah, that feels like a problem. I believe you should fix this one. With Donta Jackson, the thing for me is like I don't like the trade for him, but I still feel like he is a player that if he's out there, you should not be like super worried. I would be more happier if there were 2 guys better than him, not only Joey Porter Jr. And I feel like that's another position they will address in the draft. And it's good. There are some quite a nice cornerbacks, and they maybe could get lucky like they did last season with Joey Porter, and some of the like top guys actually fall into them. I do believe that they will more likely do and like address this position with like the first round pick, because I feel like their talent to find wide receivers better than talent to find cornerbacks, and I feel like one of the premium guys could fall into them because of the like huge quarterback needs, like amazing wide receivers being out there, guys like Brock Bowers, some of the edge guys. I really feel like they could get the probably not the top cornerback in the draft, but definitely the top 3 with their pick, and I feel like that's gonna be what they will do. I don't think they will spend that for the wide receiver. I feel like they will do their magic and find the right guy with second round or the third. So cornerbacks definitely worry. You struck a gold with Joey Porter. Like you got incredibly lucky that he was still out there for you to pick up super late in the first round. Yeah, good for you guys. Bad for the league. You have your, I would say, number 1 corner for years to come on a rookie deal. And with Donta, you have someone. I feel like if you address this with another cornerback in the draft, you have quite good enough room that, especially behind this line, will be what you are paying for, and even more. In terms of safeties, I liked what you have with Minkah and Kazee. Like Minkah is obviously one of the best safeties out there. With Kazee, he is a decent player. Miles Kilbrew, Deshaun Elliott, kind of the backup options. You don't spend much for them. Kind of okay signings. Nothing special. I do not expect them to like have a huge impact role. I feel like they could be snap eaters in a way that they will be out there. You won't count on them to make your game, but you count on them not to break it, and that could be their role. And for that, you paid solid money, but nothing special. So yeah, pretty much the secondary that you have one exceptional player in Minkah. You have a guy that's definitely on the rise to be another exceptional player. Then you have lacking depth for cornerbacks. You have kind of good enough depth for safeties. Definitely something you would address with the draft. And I feel like there's really good chance that you can do it with not like drafting up for your guy. It's quite a nice possibility that he just gonna be out there for when you are picking with the number 20 pick. Like for several mocks that I've done, there's guys like Nate Wiggins still out there, or even Kool-Aid McKinstry, because it's like Cooper DeJean, Quinton Mitchell are most of the times gone off the boards with where Pittsburgh at, but it's not like there should be like 4 to 5 cornerbacks picked before the Pittsburgh is picking, because you have, I would say, most likely like 5 quarterbacks being picked. You have obviously Caleb, Drake, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy. You have at least 3 wide receivers with Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, and Rome Odunze. You have your tackles in Fuanga and Alt. And you have, or Fatuano even, you have your edge guys in In Dallas Turner or Jared Verse or inside guys with Jazar Newton and Byron Murphy, and yeah, that's like a lot of guys. You obviously have Brook Bowers as this kind of special tight end type, and maybe even some guys will address their inside of line, like with Jackson Powers Johnson. I can see him being actually off the board when Pittsburgh are picking. So there's a lot of guys that could be picked out there, and for you as a Steelers, that's a good thing because you are clearly waiting for that prime cornerback. If he is not out there, there is a slight chance that maybe one of the premium wide receivers is actually still up. Most unlikely, but it could happen. It could also be that if guy like Odunze is still out there for you to pick him like, with, I don't know, like 10th, 11th pick, something like that. It could happen with how the quarterbacks are like being taken off the board in so many drafts, and it's like even Bo Nix could get drafted top 10, which it's kind of crazy to me. He could still be out there with like number 10, number 11, number 12 pick. Maybe he is the guy that is worth trading up for, securing that you have actually those wide receiver options for the season to come. Maybe that's what you do. I don't think it's the Steelers way, especially not for wide receivers, but would I be like super shocked to see that? No, but I still feel like they will pick cornerback with their number 20 pick, or they could trade down if the guy is not out there, the guy that they want. I feel like it's most about either Aid McKinstry or Nate Wiggins. If either of these two guys is out there still with that 20 pick, I feel like they will be going for him. Okay, that's enough talking about the secondary. I think it's good. You are missing some pieces, but it's B2B plus in the future. It's probably not going to be a lockdown secondary anyway soon because you are just missing pieces for that. But they could look like one behind this D-line and linebacker, especially if you hit on the second cornerback you bring here from the draft. Okay, that's it. Let's just talk about the coaches, and that's it. That's gonna be it for the Steelers. So with Mike Tomlin, I already said it. I have shit ton of respect for this guy. I think he's doing an exceptional job. He is hard. He is, like one of the best coaches in the league. He's a culture setter. He is, I think a lot that you want in your head coach. He's just not an offensive guy, and that in today's NFL might be just the biggest flaw that you can find on Mike Tomlin, and what essentially could make him being released or fired, because he just does not offer you this upside that like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, like if you will put him into terms of rankings for like defensive guru-ness, or he will be in the same ranking that these guys are for like offensive guru-ness, but having an offensive guru is just more valuable in today's NFL than having a defensive guru. With Terrell Austin, he's a like right hand of Mike Tomlin. He's been here for 6 years, 3 years as a defensive coordinator. Probably not heading for a head coaching job quite soon. It's hard, I feel like, for defensive coordinators if you have a guy like Mike Tomlin over you. It's more like internally getting promoted like Jared Mayo did. But even there, it's like you are probably getting rid of your defensive head coach for a reason. That reason is not enough upside in terms of offense. And if that's the case, why do you just replace him with probably like worse option that you have inside your own building? With Bill, the reason was like too much power. Here, it's going to be hard. So I don't see Terrell being like the next head coach like anytime soon. but he will just be a damn good defensive coordinator with combo of Mike Tomlin. And then we go to Arthur Smith, and that's obviously a signing that's gonna be highly polarizing. I feel like he's been let go as head coach of Falcons, and he was kind of immediately brought here as an offensive coordinator. And there was so many knocks on him, but I would say the biggest knocks on him was he was not great head coach in terms of setting the culture right, helping with draft very well, trusting with Desmond Ridder. But what he's most talk about is not putting the ball into hands of his like playmakers, and they had a ton of them. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson had less touches than people would hope for them, and even I would. But I would say a lot of these critiques were coming from like fantasy standpoint, where they had these guys drafted and he was just not giving them enough targets, and they were like coming for him. So it's like, yeah, there is a case for him not doing that quite well, and I would definitely support that. But at the same time, I feel like this was intensified from a group of guys that are not necessarily like thinking about what's best for the team, but for what's best for their fantasy records. So I will put down the criticism for Arthur little, and I also feel like he likes to run the ball, and with Najee and Jalen Warren, with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, man, this could be an interesting running offense, and we'll see what they do in terms of their passing. With their punter, let's go to special teams, and like overall, it's not good, because Boswell is kind of up and down. He had really good year last year, but before that he was kind of meh. So he's, I would say, middle of the pack. Cameron Johnston is a problem. I feel like he could get cut. He is not, like, he's on the verge of actually being a starting punter for me. But what makes them for me is they look alike to me. Cameron Johnston is an absolute lookalike of Bill Burr, the comedian. One that comes with like mixed reputation because he tends to make fun of a lot of things, and he kind of pushes the boundaries, almost getting cancelled and stuff. But he definitely looks like Cameron, so we just focus on the lookalike part here. And with Chris Boswell, I also feel like, if you know the TV shows Vikings, I feel like he looks very much like Bjorn Ironside. So to me, I'm rooting for these guys more for the purpose that they look like someone I would not say more famous, but like someone famous as they do. Overall, they could be a problem, especially like the inconsistencies of Boswell and just not enough quality for Johnston. One of the groups that for me, I'm not a special teams like top analytic, but they belong to one of the groups that I feel like could be a problem for their team, and I don't have many of these groups actually. So yeah, that's a bit of a possibility for the Pittsburgh. Before we end, how does Pittsburgh window look like? And when we talk about window, we talk about like where they will maximize their chances to win Super Bowl, how likely it is like within the 3-year time span. I would say that this is the year in a weird way, and that kind of sucks because they are like 9th, 8th best team in their own conference. But I feel like this is the team when you actually could do it if Russell Wilson hits his potential, or like his past form, or if Justin hits his potential. You still have Cam Hayward for 1 year. You are not paying several offensive players because they are still on rookie deals. So in a weird way, this is probably the year for the Steelers. I feel like it could be so that if this year does not work, they might be for bigger change, where it's letting go of Mike Tomlin, trying to just, I don't know, bring a top quarterback, actually pay for him, which is going to be hard, given the league, like these trades have not worked lately very well. They might trade super hard for like taking the guy within the draft next year. I definitely doubt that they would address this in this year's draft, but maybe they will take a flyer on someone in a third or fourth round. But to me, this is kind of make or break season for them to just show, can you resurrect the greatness in Russell Wilson? Is he a guy that's going to get you over the hump? And if not, I worry about what the Steelers going to do next off season, because if they are again like 9-8 or 10-7 and they are first round exit, are you continuing with this? Are you like really eternally stuck in this? Maybe that would be the answer. So if that's gonna be the case, I cannot say that 25 or 26 should be better. Yeah, you have guys on rookie deals that's gonna improve, but they will eventually need to get paid. And TJ Watt is gonna be 30 or more. Cam Hayward is not gonna be there. Yeah, like that window is always gonna be open a bit when you are in purgatory, because there is a chance that you can make this exceptional run, but it's like you can feel little breeze, but it's not like breeze of like high hope, I would say. So maybe this is the year for Steelers. Maybe this is the year where they either make it or there's gonna be tough decisions that will need to be made, especially in the future of Mike Tomlin and how you actually like structure this team, defense first. Maybe that's just not working anymore in the NFL. So with that kind of disappointing hand, because like I said, I'm actually a fan of a lot of guys here, a lot of pieces, and a lot of players, and even the culture of Pittsburgh. I wish them to do good, but realistically, I do not see Superbowl within the 3 years for Pittsburgh being very realistic, unless it's somehow this season. And even for this season, I feel like it's like 1%, maybe 2%, something like that. But I cannot give you anything better. That's the ultimate downside of a purgatory. It's really, really hard to hit those like super high highs with this roster. Good luck, Pittsburgh. Sorry guys, sorry fans if I disappointed you in the end, but this is how I honestly feel about this. Good luck, lookalikes. Good luck, Russell Wilson. I wish you the best. From me, this is it for Pittsburgh Steelers. And see everyone with the next episode. Till then, have a nice day. Bye bye.